Hi everyone and welcome to my channel English Fluency Lab, where I help you improve your English language skills. Friends, in this video, I'm going to talk to you about the difference between the four words borrow, owe, lend and loan. Now friends, in my experience as a communication coach, I have seen that many of my students get confused in the usage of these four verbs. So in this video, I'm going to clarify the correct usage of these four verbs, and there is a quiz at the end to test your understanding. So let's get started right away. Let us start with the word borrow. Now what does borrow mean? Borrow means to take something from someone with the intention of returning it. With the intention of returning it is very important, my friends. Okay? To take something from someone with the intention of returning it. Now what is the structure of a sentence which has the word borrow? The structure is subject, which is the receiver in this case, plus borrow, plus object, plus from, plus giver. Now this is optional. Right? So this is the formula or the structure of the sentence which has the word borrow, where you can use the word borrow. Now this may sound a little confusing, so let me take a few examples out here. I borrowed a pen from my friend, which means that you took a pen from your friend and you have to return it. Now maybe you took this pen for 5 minutes, for 20 minutes, for 1 hour, and you have to return this pen. You cannot keep this pen. Number 2, she will borrow a car from her neighbor, which means that she will take her neighbor's car and she will return it, maybe after a day, maybe after 2 days, maybe after 3 hours. We don't know that, right? But she has to return the car. He is borrowing money from the bank. Now maybe he has taken money from the bank in the form of a loan, and he has to repay that money by equal installments, and he also has to pay interest on it, right? So that is the meaning of the word borrow, where you take something from someone with the intention of returning it. Okay, now let's move on and understand some other ways to use borrow. Now I have already talked to you about the basic structure. The basic structure is subject, which is the receiver, plus borrow, plus object, plus from, plus giver. Right? And I told you about the example, I borrowed a pen from my friend. Okay, this is optional out here. However, there are a couple of other structures which you need to be aware of. There is an alternate structure, which is subject plus borrow plus object. Fairly simple. An example could be, I borrowed her pen, right? So, okay, rather than saying I borrowed a pen from my friend, you can say I borrowed her pen. So you are specifically saying from whom you borrowed the pen. I borrowed her pen. Now this is an alternate structure. There is also a question structure. In the question structure, you can say can plus subject, which is the receiver in this case, plus borrow, plus object, plus from, plus giver. Now let's understand this with examples. Can I borrow a pen? From you could be optional. Can I borrow a pen? Right? Can I borrow your pen? Now in this you've specified. When you say your, you don't have to say from you. Can I borrow your pen? So these are the different ways in which you can express the word borrow. You have a basic structure, you have an alternate structure, and you have a question structure. So I hope the meaning of the word borrow is clear, guys. Right? Let us move on and understand the meaning of the word owe. Now, first of all, I want to clarify that many of my students make a mistake in the pronunciation of this word. The pronunciation, they pronounce this word as OA. Now, that's wrong. The correct pronunciation is O, right? The letter O. Okay. Now, what does O mean? To have an obligation to pay or repay something, usually money, not always, usually money to someone. When it is not money, it need not be paid back. Okay. Structure. Subject, which is the debtor in this case, which means the giver of the money or the thing, plus O plus object, which is the amount, plus to plus the creditor. Okay. Now this might sound a little complicated again, but let me take a few examples and clarify this. Examples. I owe $50 to my friend. Now this means that you have borrowed or you have taken $50 from your friend and you have to return it. And that particular condition is called owe. I owe $50 to my friend, which means that you have taken and you have to return it. She owes her success to her mentor, right? Now, in this case, it is not money, right? It need not be paid back, as I told you. Now, in this, what this means is that the mentor has put in a lot of effort for her success. And if that mentor had not put in the effort, maybe this person would not have been successful. So she owes her success to her mentor, okay? That means it is all because of the mentor that she is successful today. He will owe a lot of money to the bank after buying the house. So maybe he's borrowed money from the bank, he's taken a loan, and after buying the house, he will owe a lot of money to the bank, which means that he has to pay it back. He has to repay it in installments along with interest, right? So that is the meaning of the word owe, right? Again, I'll repeat. Owe, to have an obligation to pay or repay something, right? But you always borrow first and then you owe the money, okay? And in case it is not money, it need not be paid back. Let's move on and understand the other ways to use owe. Basic structure I've already told you: subject plus owe plus object plus to plus creditor, right? I owe $50 to my friend. I have already spoken to you about this. Alternate structure: subject plus owe plus person plus object. Let's take an example. I owe my friend $50. Pretty simple. I owe my friend $50. You've taken $50 from your friend and you have to pay it back. Question structure: do or does plus subject plus owe plus person plus object. Okay, again may sound a little complicated, but let's take a couple of examples. Do I owe you any money? Right? Maybe you took some money from your friend, you've forgotten about it, you vaguely remember it, and you're asking the question, do I owe you any money? So that is the question structure. So this is the basic structure, the alternate structure, and the question structure. Okay, so friends, I hope that you have understood the meaning of the word borrow and owe out here. Let us move on. Let us understand the meaning of the word lend. Now, lend means to give something to someone temporarily with the expectation that it will be returned. To give something to someone temporarily with the expectation that it will be returned. Basic structure: subject, which is the giver, plus lend plus object plus to plus receiver, optional. Right? Let's take a few examples. I lent my phone to a friend. Now, lent is the past form of lend. Okay, it's lend, lent, lent. Okay, lent is the past form of lend. Lend is the present tense, lent is the past tense. I lent my phone to a friend, right? Which means that you have given it temporarily and your friend has to give it back to you. Number 2, he will lend his umbrella to the woman. Okay, which means he will give his umbrella to the woman temporarily and she has to give it back. Number 3, the bank is lending money to the company. Okay, which means that the bank is going to give money to the company and the company has to pay it back with interest, right? So that is the meaning of the word lend. Now, other ways to use lend, right? Here are some other ways to use lend. The basic structure I've already spoken to you about. I will not repeat that. I lent my phone to my friend. I've already talked about this. Let's talk about an alternate structure: subject plus lend plus person plus object. I lent my friend my phone. All right, okay, I lent my friend my phone, which is the alternate structure. Then there is a question structure: can plus subject plus lend plus person plus object. Okay, let's understand with an example. Can you lend me your phone? Right? Can you lend me your phone? Here you're using the word your. All right. Can you lend me your phone? Now let us understand the meaning of the word loan. Right? Now, friends, loan is very similar to lend. Right? In fact, you can use it interchangeably many times. Loan means to give something, especially money, temporarily with the expectation of repayment, often with interest. Right? Basic structure: subject, the giver, plus loan plus object plus to plus receiver. That's the basic structure. Examples: she loaned $5,000 to her friend. She loaned $5,000 to her friend means she gave it temporarily. She won't loan any money to her brother. Right? She won't give any money to her brother. Banks loan money to home buyers, which means banks give money to home buyers to buy houses. Right? So that is the meaning of the word loan. Other ways to use loan. Here are other ways to use loan. I've already talked to you about the basic structure. Right? Let's look at an alternate structure. Alternate structure is subject, which is the giver in this case, plus loan plus person plus object. I loaned my co-worker $200. I loaned my co-worker $200, which means you gave $200 temporarily and he has to give it back. Question structure: can. Okay, can plus subject plus loan plus person plus object. Right? Can you loan me some money? Right? Can you loan me some money? Okay, so these are the three structures in which way you can use loan. Right? Can the bank lend money to small businesses? Can the bank loan money to small businesses? Right? Which means, can the bank give money to small businesses? Right? Okay. Let's move on. Now, lend instead of loan. Now, I told you, friends, that in case of loan, you can use the word lend also. Okay. In many times, this word is interchangeable. Now, here is something to consider. Use lend or lent instead of loan. Now, these were the examples which I told you earlier. She loaned $500 to her friend. She won't loan any money to her brother. And banks loan money to home buyers. I've already talked about these examples earlier. Now, all these three examples, you can change the word loan to lend or lent depending upon the tense. So let's look at the first one. She loaned $500 to her friend. She lent $500 to her friend. Right? So instead of loaned, we are using the word lent, which is the past form of lend, L-E-N-D. Number two, she won't loan any money to her brother. She won't lend money to her brother. Right? So instead of loan, we are using the word lend, which is the present tense. Number three, banks loan money to home buyers. Banks lend money to home buyers. So what I'm trying to say out here, friends, is that you can use the word lend instead of loan in most of the cases. Right? Let's move on. Now let's understand the difference between borrow, owe, lend and loan. Okay. Now there is one more difference between borrow, lend and loan. Right? Borrow is a verb. Okay. I borrowed my friend's phone. Owe is a verb. Okay. I owe my friend $50. Lend is a verb. My friend lent me his phone. Now loan is a verb. The bank loaned me some money. It is also a noun, right? I got a loan from the bank. So while borrow, owe and lend are verbs, loan is one word which is a verb as well as a noun. Okay, let's move on and understand the use of a loan as a noun, use of the word loan as a noun, right? Loan, an amount of money that is borrowed, typically from a bank, that must be paid back with interest. Let's look at a few examples. He applied for a student loan. Now, in this case, it is a noun. The company took out a business loan. He was approved for a car loan. She made a personal loan to a friend. He paid off the loan on time. And last one, the organization offered a low interest loan. Now, friends, these are all examples of the word loan as a noun, not as a verb. Okay. So loan, out of these four words, loan is perhaps the only word which can be used as a verb and as a noun. All right, let's move on. Now, friends, here is a summary of whatever I've talked about till now. Okay, borrow, lend, loan and owe. And here is a formula. Borrow is the structure is subject, which is a receiver, plus borrow plus object, plus from plus giver. I borrowed a pen from my friend. Lend, subject, giver in this case, plus lend plus object, plus to plus receiver. I lent a pen to my friend, or I gave a pen to my friend. If you can use the word, if it can be replaced with the word gave, it is lent. Loan, subject plus giver, plus loan plus object, plus to plus receiver. The bank loaned money to home buyers. The bank lent money to home buyers, right? And finally, the word owe, subject, debtor, and you can say the giver. Okay, you can just replace the debtor with the giver, plus owe plus object, which is the amount, plus to plus creditor. I owe $50 to my friend. I have an obligation to pay $50 to my friend. So friends, this is a summary. You can take a screenshot of this, of the four words borrow, lend, loan and owe, right? So friends, I hope these four words are clear now. Now what we are going to do is we are going to test your knowledge. Okay, I'm going to give you 10 questions. I'm going to pause the video and your choices are borrow, lend, owe or loan, right? So let's take the first question. Can I dash your laptop for my presentation tomorrow? Right? Your four choices are borrow, owe, lend or loan. Number two, she agreed to dash her bicycle to her cousin for a week. Number three, he dashed his gratitude to his supportive family. And number four, the company plans to dash money from the bank for the new project. Number five, they asked their neighbor to dash them a ladder for the repairs. Number six, after the meeting, he realized he dashed his colleague an apology. Number seven, could you dash me some cash until I get paid? Number eight, I need to dash $20 from my sister to pay for the ticket. Number 9, the government decided to dash funds to the disaster relief program. And number 10, the student will dash a large sum after completing his education. Now friends, you know your 4 choices. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pause the video here for 10 seconds. You can pause the video longer if you'd like. Please note down your answers on a piece of paper or a pad or electronically, whichever way is convenient, and then let's look at the answers, right? So your 10 seconds start now. All right, let us look at the answers. Number 1, can I borrow your laptop for my presentation tomorrow? Number 2, she agreed to lend her bicycle to her cousin for a week. Number 3, he owes his gratitude to his supportive family. Number 4, the company plans to borrow money from the bank for the new project. Number 5, they asked their neighbor to lend them a ladder for the repairs, right? Now in this case, you can't use the word loan, right? Because they're asking for a ladder, they're not asking for money. Number 6, after the meeting, he realized he owes his colleague an apology. Okay, maybe this person has been rude or something and he owes his colleague an apology. Could you, number 7, could you lend me some cash until I get paid? Right? Now here you can use the word loan. Could you loan me some cash? But lend is better. Number 8, I need to borrow $20 from my sister to pay for the ticket. Number 9, the government decided to loan funds to the disaster relief program. Right? Now here you can use lend also. The government decided to lend funds to the disaster relief program. Number 10, the student will owe a large sum after completing his education. So friends, how many did you get right out of 10? Please put that in the comments box. And friends, if you have found value in this video, please give me a like. Please press the bell and please do subscribe to my channel because I keep coming up with videos like these to help you improve your English language skills. Thank you very much and I will see you in the next one.